Simple and clean, welcome to the stream. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I got something special for you. I have a red purple law guide. I know there's a lot of you just getting into the deck right now, and a lot of people are still struggling with finding a way to optimally use the deck to their best understanding. So I decided to make this guide for those who need help with that. And I spent a lot of time on this, and I hope it helps you guys really understand the deck a lot more better. Starting off with that, we're going to go over the core cards. So for core cards, we have Bon Clay. Bon Clay is one of your best ran cards and can punish players for playing big cards with large stats. This is a must get rid of for the decks that do have them, such as Gecko Moria, Katakuri, and Enel. So decks that just have really large threats that you want to deal with, or sorry, that they have to worry about you also having a quote-unquote copy of. The next card, Kin Killer, also known as K&K, the Demonic Rush card. Who designed this thing? Not only is it a 4-cost 7k rusher, but we can cheat it out. And you might have games where you play this, swing, cheat out another one with your leader ability. Very aggressive card, really strong, especially in this meta that we're in right now. You just play this card in any red deck, to be honest. Next card up, Reiju, my beloved. She is one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card, contesting with Kin Killer and Sachin Penguin. She's very flexible, very affordable in turns, and makes your life better than it is now. Just being able to get that draw 2 off is really strong, and even if you see too many of these, she's a 1k counter, so she's not even a brick. That's the best part about her. She's not even a brick. So she's very universal, and you can utilize her in many different ways. Next card up is Captain Useless. Captain Useless fucking mid. Except in this deck, he's insanely viable and strong in the deck. I consider him a main ramper due to his ability of always making a lead effect only -2 rather than -3. And it's an active Dawn rather than a rested Dawn that you have access to. So it can help you pressure with 6k swings, 7k swings for however many extra Dawn you have left over. He's my goated short king. And then next up, we got Sachin Penguin, the Blowjob Boys, the Fish Stick Twins, the Challengers. Go watch the fucking movie, it's really good. This card makes and breaks the deck in a kind of like a weird line. If you see this early on, you're fucking in there, and you're able to keep up your ramp and your Dawn, so you can keep up the pressure. If you don't see it, you kind of just want to cry and scoop, stare at him in the face, and go like, yeah, I didn't see it. But jokes aside, he's a 2k counter. He hard ramps you back to breaking even when you're using abilities, especially with Captain Goated Kyle right next to him. Just a really strong card. Another card which I didn't put on this panel is Gordon and Raise Max, in which I had no, but you guys should know this already. He's a $40 staple for a reason. He's kind of needed for the deck, otherwise I don't know if you're playing the deck correctly, because you really need Gordon and Raise Max. They're your main tools of doing what your deck does best, which is like bottom decking and reducing cards down. You can't really play the deck. Actually, no, you cannot play the deck without them, so they're a very high need. Some honorable mentions are Queen, first of all. He's insane against yellow matchups, more specifically Enel, and yes, that motherfucker's back in the meta. Fucking hell. But being able to draw 2 cards and get rid of a brick is really strong, and being a 5-cost 6k body works wonders on yellow. He can only be ridden of if they have a reject. If you're fighting against a black deck, they need to use Ice Age on him or multiple different cards in order to reduce his cost to get rid of him. So he's kind of just another menace. He also helps in the mirror match as a second quote-unquote big body threat to deal with. Accompanying with 5-cost Kid. Just the 5-cost 6Ks are really strong. 1 Dawn attached, swinging 7k. It helps with the aggression. Blocker Law, you know he slaps Enel in the Chrome Dome. I was skeptical at first still using him, but he catches Moria players off, Enel players, and Sokka's too. Even the mirror pulling this off may make or break the game. There's been times where I'm playing against a mirror match, and I would hit like a Sachin Penguin and maybe like a Reiju or a Rusher, and it's like, GG, like legitimately GG. They have no ramper, they have no draw or rusher. They can't do what they need to do anymore. And at the end of the day, he's still 1k counter and a 5k blocker. Just really solid card all around. And Shiraya, the motherfucking GOAT. He makes Whitebeard and Bai Luffy a punk bitch. He's super great against decks that like to go tall, such as Katakuri and Yamato. He's also a 3-cost 4k body, so he's mad annoying to get rid of for Red Purple Law, on top of being a card you hard play out and get a later ability off the rip. A lot of 3 costs are really strong for Red Purple Law because of the sole purpose of being able to use your leader ability using the already tapped Dawn rather than having to like allocated across like attacks or anything. So you play Shiraya and then you can already have the free will of using your leader ability. And speaking of which, I'm going to teach you about the timings to go for it or not. I've seen a lot of people play this deck for from a spectating point of view, and I've noticed a lot of you guys are trigger happy with the effect. I know the power, it consumes you, but you don't need to go for it all the time. That's to either break even with Dawn and build up a board, tempoing out their threat card, or going for game. And by threat card, I mean cards like Kuzan, maybe the enemy or Purple Law's Kid or Kitten Killer, maybe Katakuri's Paraspero, like Sakazuki's Lucci or Borsellino, cards of the like. If you're just using your leader ability, just a leader ability, then you're going to find yourself doing dauntless behavior action, and you'll be like, man, I have no Dawn to end the game or pressure with, and I've seen it too many times. Like, honestly, like, you want, like, there are times where leader ability is strong, but sometimes you don't even need to leader ability. You can just normally swing at them, and trust me, the 2 Dawn you get, for not using your leader ability will be very huge, especially when it comes to mid to late game, because that extra 2 Dawn is the actual difference in how easy it will be to finish off the enemy player. Next, we're going to go up to when to play aggro versus mid-range clear, and etc, etc. This goes hand in hand with how you use the leader ability. I cannot stress this enough though. Please always count their 2k cards. This goes especially for Sakazuki and Gecko Moria. Those decks farm 2ks like it's their fucking deck identity, no cap. Rebecca should be hit, but that's for another video I may or may not make. Counting their 2ks will help you calc going for game at very crucial moments and will put the opponent in a position of discomfort to make rash decisions. The second part is important, and this is what makes the game fun for me at least. Watching and paying attention to player behavior helps give hand info without them showing you their cards in hand, actually. A sign here, a side here, and a side there goes a long way. Don't be too reactive to it though, because it may be a bluff. But keeping a poker face and paying close attention to how they play throughout the game entirely is very, very important. If you're going to go for board, make sure they can't come back or build off of it again. For example, like kicking them while they're down, basically. But if you're gonna go for board, you better have a good excuse to do so, because the truth is, this is an aggro deck with funny control options, to be honest. Why swing your aggressive swings at the board when you can go face? But if you can clear board and they can't come back from it, you just auto win the game, unless it's a yellow deck because they cheat. Yellow cheats. Hate yellow. But the next 2 points work hand in hand as well. Poking 5 and watching how they drop for the swings. Red Green Law was the king of 5Ks, and now RP Law is. In most matchups, there's not really a point to swing anything higher than 5 unless it's 7k plus. Of course, there are times where a 6k swing is fucking nuts, but in a meta where every deck runs an average of 10 to 12 2ks and can search for them, they're gonna drop the 2k anyway, so why invest a whole Dawn to 6 again when you can invest that Dawn into building your board or doing something a lot better? It's very heavy situation based. Late game, if you see a good amount of 2ks dropped into their trash, going 6 is probably the best move, so you can make sure that they run out of all their 2ks. But if it's early, it almost doesn't have an impact really, but it's still great to get rid of 2ks from the player hand. Again, it's totally situation based, and it's based on judgment. So try to pay attention to that when you are swinging at them. Very, very important. Next, we're gonna go over matchups. Sakazuki, can't wait for this guy to be shot in the head with a 9 caliber. In game, of course. The standard build runs 8 2Ks, so if you can keep this in mind and count their blessings, going for game should be mad easy if you have the setup for it. Most of their cards are brick cards such as Houndblaze, Lucci, Amano Murakumo, Kuzan, Ice Age, etc, etc. And most of the 1K cards such as like Brand New, Rebecca, and Helmepo are cards that usually want to cast from hand rather than trash for counter. Probably Helmepo being the one exception because they can rip it out of trash or more, or they can set up their Moria turn for it. But if it's not a 2K, it's a combo card out of hand. They cheat by using the same cards they trash for counter, so when they do start recurving and bottom decking cards from trash, try your best to keep in mind what exactly they put back to the bottom so you can play around exactly what they have access to. Keeping an eye on their trash cards is key to winning this matchup. Know what Moria combos they can do and what they can grab back with Rebecca is crucial to nailing this guy. Pause. The great thing about this MU is, besides Moria and 7-cost Borsellino, if they play it, everything gets bottomed pretty easily by Gordon, Raise Max, or just using your leader ability. This is advantageous to us because it lets us use more of our Dawn in a given turn rather than having to use more resources in clearing their board. Lastly, I feel like this matchup is mostly a knowledge check. The deck's been out for months now, like half a year, so if you know their turns as they play it out, you'll have an easy time making them switch up their game plan because you already know what they want to go for. Say like they're on turn 4, they're either playing Borsellino, Kuzan, or 2 Brand News, or Brand New and 2 Tashigi. So knowing this information, you know that they're not going to be too aggressive. Maybe turn 6 they'll go for like a Rebecca Hina Houndblaze combo that they're doing a lot more now. So yeah, if you know their curve and if you know what their game plan is, for the most part, then the playing against this deck is more so just a knowledge check, and it just comes down to how well you draw and your judgment on how you play the game. Next up, we have Moria. A lot of people have trouble playing against this guy, and he's probably one of the roughest matchups this deck has, to be honest. He actually just runs a standard of 12 2Ks, and he can keep recycling them with Hogback. So he recurves cards like no other fucking deck, like literally. Like the deck's identity is to recurve. So reduce, reuse, recycle. That's this guy. And for the third point, cheat cards out like we do, but they keep it on. Their leader ability is similar to ours, in which a way they can cheat out 4 costs, except it's better for them because it's coming from trash and they keep their Dawn. They can clear a board at most times and build a board at any time. So this is where the deck's power shines the best. Sometimes you want to hold off your attacks and force them to have the removal for it. This makes it easier to pressure him and swing multiple times. Just have a Zoro brain rot in mind, right? Just like how they build a board of 1 costs and then choose a turn to where they say, just fuck you in particular. But just do the same thing to them with Reparable Law. Just build up your board of 5Ks, right? If they remove 1, that's fine. They burn resources for that. But, or at least how I would go about the matchup, I would just hold off until I choose a specific turn to where I just want to hard push the aggression on them. 5th point, Gecko Moria. Yep, I mean, 8-cost Moria, we all know how insanely annoying it is when they play that card and they kind of just get an insane amount of value. Self-explanatory. Him being a 5-life leader makes it harder for us to actually kill him. Putting him to 2-life threshold for Kitten Killer is a bit hard, but if you're able to out-tempo the Tempo Prince, I don't know, we're the king, then you won't have to be too worried about playing throughout the game and taking damage. Like I always say, if they don't have a board, what's the worst that can happen? Because all they have is leader ability swing. Besides 8-cost Moria, but they need to get to that turn and choose between tanking up and clearing board. And if you play the matchup right and see a decent hand, you should be fine most of the time playing against this guy. Again, when the Moria turn does come down, they're although they have a lot of options to do, they have to use the one that best fits their situation, and that's either getting rid of your board or making sure that they can live another turn. But now that we have access to Kid and Killer, it's a lot rougher for them to do that because we have ways of just like completely blowing them out in terms of counter power. So beforehand, if they played ACOS more, you kind of just lost, but now we have a better chance at winning the matchup because we're cool. Enel. Yeah, fuck Eminem and his posse of Giga Niggas, dude. They play to make you miserable. That's it. But there is a way to beat them. It's just a lot harder than it should be. You just keep poking 5k at them. Enel is another deck similar to Black decks where they run a fuck ton of 2ks. So going anything higher, again, going anything higher than 5 but not 7k doesn't do too much. But poking at 5k at them is really insane. And they have to drop a 2k for your 5k swings, and it feels like shit, doesn't it? Thankfully, they don't really play the game early until turn 4 to 5, technically, depending on who took what curve. So you have time to think and play around their oncoming turns. You want to build a board before you consider going for game. And it's very important to take here, because once you get to late game and you have no board, once Eminem starts the rumbling, there is literally no way for you to come back in the game unless you like top deck a Rusher and they have a bricked up hand. But like, that's a very specific scenario that doesn't happen too often now because they're running full on Hinas. Some of them are running the 4-cost I Am God event, which is a draw to ditch one, so it's another filter guard, but it can still happen. And you want to see all of your Rushers and your 5-costs in this matchup. Blanclay is a very huge card in this matchup, but the problem would be keeping him alive because they have access to Gadatsu and Yamato, and they're a pain in the ass for the sole reason of Enel always wanting to starve you and not let you hit below 4 life so that their shit's always active. Really annoying. So the mirror, 50-50. I've practiced this mirror 100 times and it's almost come down to who draws better, but the skill dip is insane with this deck. Obviously, if you see no ramp, but they do, it's going to be really rough, but it's not over. Many times where I haven't seen my ramp, but if I play it smart and they end up with no hand or no Dawn to do anything to like pressure you, you can like still take the game. I'd say it only gets really bad if they like go super hard on like leader ability and then they see all their Kid and Killers and then you kind of just cry. But to be honest, there's not too much to say about this mirror match, but I feel like there are pivotal opportunities to where you clearing their board hard wins you the game, or you go full aggro and you win the game. You need a lot of experience playing the deck to understand when the right time it is to go for game or a clear board, and I feel like that's going to be the determining factor between the good Red Purple Law players and the bad Red Purple Law players. And for my final thoughts, I feel like the deck is super fun, and I'm glad that we finally get to be the deck that tops and wins. It hasn't been too many toppings yet, but if there's really good players on the deck, we'll see them. Something I guess that irritates me, and I don't care what people think about it because it's my opinion, is because Reverbal is super good now, but I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way that everybody's just gonna hop to it from like the tiered slaves. But like, this does not mean that it's a bad thing. Lots of people find enjoyment in just winning and nothing else, and that's fine. We all have our reasons on why we play certain decks. It just sucks being someone who loved and played the deck beforehand for what the deck was, but now you're seen as the meta slave because it's good now. Like, I played this deck on fucking starter release, but that doesn't matter now because everyone's playing it. Because what matters is what wins, right? But yeah, this deck can win any matchup statistically. It's just a bit harder for some matchups, such as Moria and Light Skin Slim Shady. But a huge go-away tip for everyone trying to learn this deck and find success is Dawn management. I feel like it's the most important thing about this deck that makes or breaks you winning with it. Because if you are able to make sure that you keep up your Dawn management and that you are, you know, playing to the best of your capabilities, is what my boy Nikki tells me all the time. Um, you can, the fucking sky's the limit, dude. Like, you can do so much with this deck, and it's really fun, and it's insane how crazy strong it is. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me a lot, and I thank you for the people who still support the channel and still, you know, subscribe. I'm sorry for the absence. Turns out having a social life, a girlfriend, a 9-to-5 job, bills, and grinding for regionals is pretty taxing and makes uploading a lot slower, and when you edit everything yourself. But thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.